Everyone, over the past 20 years, if you had to choose the best performing stocks, which one would you pick? Apple, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, or if you joined the stock market recently, you probably would say Nvidia. Of course, these are amazing companies. They change the world through technology and they deserve the attention they get. But what if I told you that boring stocks nobody cared about actually beat many big tech companies and over the past 20 years? Can you believe it? Right now, everyone is trying to find the next Nvidia. But today, I want to introduce very boring three companies, but they might make your stock portfolio anything but boring. Before we start, I post important global news every morning on my YouTube shorts. I strongly believe this will help your investment decisions, so please check them out and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of them. Okay, then let's get started. Today's companies sell auto parts, discounted brand name clothing, and operate nursing and rehab facilities for older adults. Just hearing those businesses does not exactly make your heart race, right? In fact, you might think, why would anyone buy stocks like this? No flash, no futuristic image, no CEO launching rockets. But once you look at the numbers, the story completely changes. Like fine wine that does not go out of style, let's look at the numbers behind these boring but powerful companies. Let's say you invested $10,000 in the S&P 500 at the beginning of 2008. By the end of the May 2026, the money would have grown to about 72K. This was about 11% per annual return. Warren Buffett would nod his head at the result and it looks good. But what if you had invested the same $10,000 into three companies we're talking about today? O'Reilly Automotive would have grown to about 400,000. If you put the money just for sale, you will have a $430,000 today. The Ensign Group would have grown to about $330,000. Wait a second, hold on. The S&P 500 turned 10 grand into around 72 grand, but an auto parts company turned into the 400,000? Yep, you're right. And this is way higher performance than you thought, right? The S&P 500 returned about 11% per year. However, O'Reilly was 22%, Ross was 23%, and Ensign Group was about 21% per year. What? For almost two decades, these companies compounded at over 20% per year. And at the point, you might be thinking, okay, they're good, but wouldn't I have made more money with big tech? Fair questions. Here is the real twist though. From the beginning of 2008 to today, Apple was still incredibly strong. But other than Apple, these boring stocks actually have shown outperforming the other major big companies. In other words, during this period, companies selling broken car parts and discounted leftover brand name goods outperformed some of the world's most famous tech companies and even Warren Buffett and many banks' portfolio. Why is this so surprising? Because big tech spend tens of billions of dollars every year on research and development. They constantly need to create the next innovation. AI, cloud, advertising, chips, operating systems, platforms. They have to keep winning the next war. But these companies do not really depend on trends. They solve very basic problems. Cars keep breaking. People keep wanting to save money. America and the whole world actually keep getting older. Those three sentences are the core of today's video. And here is the even scary part. These companies did not just go up a lot. They also held up surprisingly well when the market got hit hard. These stocks participate when the market went up. And in some years, they even went up when the market was falling. Did you know stocks like this exist? Now let's take a look at these three boring but powerful companies one by one. The first company is one you may have seen while driving around, or maybe you have visited one of its stores to buy car products. It's O'Reilly Automotive. O'Reilly sells auto parts. Just hearing that sounds boring, but the business is stronger than it looks. Cars keep breaking, batteries die, brakes wear out, oil needs to be changed, and sometimes a warning light suddenly pops up on the dashboard. When that happens, the car owners think, great, there goes more money. But from an investor point of view, that is O'Reilly's revenue. The interesting part is what happens during the weak economy. When the economy gets tough, people buy fewer new cars. If they do not buy new cars, they keep their old cars longer. And when they keep old cars longer, those cars need more repairs. That means auto part demand does not collapse easily. This is one reason O'Reilly has been so strong. The company is not selling something people buy because they want it. It is selling something people often need to buy because they have no choice. But O'Reilly's real strength is not just selling auto parts. It serves both regular consumers and professional repair shops. People who fix their own car are customers, but professional mechanics also order parts again and again. In auto repair, timing matters. A repair shop needs the right part quickly because it cannot leave a customer's car sitting there for days. So this industry is not only about who sells parts cheaper, it is about who has the right inventory, who can deliver quickly, and who has strong relationships with repair shops. O'Reilly has been doing this well for a long time. That is why this company is not just an auto parts store, it is more like quiet infrastructure for the American car repair market. The second company is Ross Stores. Ross is a discounted retailer. It sells brand name clothing, shoes, and home goods at lower price. I bought several clothes from the Ross too. Again, not exactly a flash business, but people always want good product at lower prices. That is true when the economy is good, but it becomes even more true when the economy is weak. When rent, insurance, restaurant prices, and car expenses go up, people try to save more on clothing and everyday items. That is where a company like Ross can become very strong. What makes Ross special is not just that it sells things cheaply. Shopping at Ross feels a little bit like a treasure hunt. You do not always know what brand or product you'll find that day. When customers find a good brand at a low price, they feel like they found a deal. That feeling brings people back. Ross also buys excess inventory, cancelled orders, and overproduced goods from other retailers and brands, then sells them at lower prices. Inventory that it's a problem for another company can become an opportunity for Ross. So Ross is not just a discount store, it is a company that turns people's desire to save money into a business model. This matters for younger customers too. People in their 20s and 30s also want to save money. Paychecks do not always rise quickly, but rent, car insurance, eating out, student loans, and everyday living costs keep going up. In that environment, consumers do not necessarily stop spending completely. They try to spend smarter. Ross sits right in that spot. When people think, I still need clothes, but I do not want to pay full price, off-price retailers like Ross can continue to stay relevant. Ross is not a company that needs to predict the next trend perfectly. It makes money from people who want to buy things after the trend has passed, but at a much better price. The third company is the Ensign Group. This may be the least familiar name out of three. Ensign operates nursing facilities, rehab centers, and senior care facilities. On the surface, it may sound like most boring company in this video, but when you look at the site, it is much bigger than many people expect. As of May 2026, Ensign operated about 395 healthcare operations across 17 states, including senior living operations. Ensign affiliates and Standard Bureau also owned 179 real estate assets. What makes Ensign special is not just that America is getting older. Nursing facilities and rehab centers depend heavily on trust and reputation. If you think from a family's point of view, it is obvious. Nobody wants to place their parent or grandparents in just any facility. People care about whether the facility is clean, how the staff treats patients, whether the rehab programs are actually working, and what kind of reputation the facility has among local hospitals and families. This is not a business where owning a lot of buildings is enough. You have to operate well. Ensign has grown by acquiring facilities and then improving operations instead of simply getting bigger for the sake of getting bigger. The company emphasizes local leadership, operational improvement, quality of care, and reputation. That is why I see Ensign not just as a nursing facility company, but as a healthcare compounder built around aging demographics, operational skill, and capital allocation. Of course, there are risks. Rising labor costs can pressure the business, and changes in Medicare and Medicare's reimbursement can affect results, and nursing facilities always carry reputation risk. So this is not a risk-free company, but when you look at the numbers since 2008, Ensign has been extremely strong. It delivered much higher return than the S&P 500 and held up well during major market downturns. When you step back and look at all three companies, the common theme becomes clear. O'Reilly is a company built around the reality that cars keep breaking. Ross is built around the reality that people keep wanting to save money. Ensign is built around the reality that America keeps getting older. These are not trends. They are part of everyday life. And in the stock market, companies connected to everyday life can be much stronger than people expect. People keep searching for the next big innovation, the next Tesla and Nvidia. Of course, those opportunities and stocks matters too, but that is not the only way to become rich. You can invest some of these three types of boring stocks, but it can bring you the great returns to your portfolio. What do you think about these three boring stocks? Do you guys have any other your favorite stocks to invest for long term? If you have, please leave the comment. Thank you for watching my video today. But again, I'm not a financial advisor, so please do your own research before make any investment decision. I'll bring another interesting and great market insight. See you in the next video. I'll be back.